Okay, you guys, let's talk about what went down with Chantel and Pedro on this episode of 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After. That was the one that was really highlighted in all of the trailers for the episode. So needless to say, it was the most dramatic part of it all. So Chantel's scenes, we didn't even see her until towards the end of the episode. And what happened was she was still at the family's house. Remember, she ran away there when she was feeling too disrespected at her own home, with Nicole refusing to sleep on the couch, cheering when she left, all of that stuff, and Pedro ganging up on her as well with the sister, wanting to go away to a hotel with all of it. So anyway, she's at the family's home and the family decides to put together a dinner. Pedro and Nicole need to be careful with this family because the last episode, Chantel's mom basically intimated that she would poison Nicole and Pedro with her food. And here they are, an episode later, feeding them. I was like, ooh, a little bit over there, but here we are. So they're waiting around for Nicole and Pedro to arrive. They're a little bit late, which I don't even think was that long. I think the family's just being picky for picky's sake. And Chantel's brother River makes a joke about how this family is going to be serving them chicken wings instead of chicken feet. Remember when Chantel's family went all the way down to the Dominican Republic, they refused to eat the traditional dish of chicken feet that Pedro's family had made for them and even hid out in the van. That's a big point of contention within these two families, the way that Pedro's family felt extremely disrespected by Chantel's family when they were visiting in the Dominican Republic. Pedro and his sister Nicole finally arrive to the house and they come in. Nicole does the kiss with Chantel. Everything seems fine. Pedro kisses her on the mouth, and then Nicole heads on over into the kitchen to greet the rest of the family. So she goes to Chantel's mom to lean in for the double kiss again and a hug, and Chantel's mom curves her completely, which was absolutely disrespectful, especially considering the fact that she would later hug Pedro and greet him properly. It's why are you mad at Nicole in this case? Pedro's the one who exchanged vows with Chantel and could potentially be cheating on her, harvesting the American dollar and all of that. It's not Nicole exactly. Nicole allegedly cheering when Chantel left the house really pales in comparison to what this family is accusing Pedro of. So her ignoring, curving Nicole and being warm to Pedro upon greeting didn't really sit right with me. Nicole is doing a really good job of putting her best face forward and being as polite as possible to Chantel's family, to the point where Chantel feels like she's being a huge suck up and completely disingenuous about her character. And so the family starts trying to get her to drop the charade. They're like, so how are things going with Chantel? Are you getting along with her? Because I heard you weren't. And Nicole tries to claim that they're getting along just fine, and the mom just keeps prying and prying and prying. And taking over the hazing from the mom, Chantel's sister Winter asks Nicole, hey, how are you liking sleeping on the couch? Everything going all right there, girl? And Nicole seemed a little bit confused, wait, what? And she doesn't exactly answer. And so Pedro then at this point calls out Chantel for telling the family way too much about what goes on in their own household, in their own marriage. And I have to say, I 100% wholeheartedly agree with Pedro. I was watching this episode with my man and we were both thinking the same thing. This girl talks way too damn much to her family, especially considering the fact that she knows that they're more than excited to watch this marriage fall apart. So why is she even feeding into it at all? Things really come to an extreme boil when Chantel's mom asks Nicole point blank period, hey girl, did you cheer when Chantel left the house the last time? Because she told me that you did something kind of rude. When she left the home, you started cheering yay, hooray, she's finally gone. Is that true? Nicole denies it and Chantel calls her out. She's like, stop lying. You're not going to lie here, girl. Let's not lie. And then she asked Pedro, her husband, to back her up. She's like, did she or did she not cheer the last time I left? And what does her husband do? As per usual, he leaves her hanging out to dry. He's like, no, that didn't happen. I didn't hear anything of the sort. And so the mom just keeps going back and forth with the both of them, trying to figure out what exactly happened, trying to get them to confess up to being really rude to Chantel in her own home. And Pedro then asks, because the seating arrangement was Nicole on the far end, Chantel in the middle, and Pedro on the other far end. And Pedro, for some reason, wants to sit next to his sister. Again, this relationship was interesting. He's like, Chantel, can you move over? And Chantel's like, why would I move over? I don't need to move over for nothing. Her mom then chimes in and says, yeah, like she doesn't need to move. What are you talking about? And then Pedro, you know how he's always like, hey, watch the way you're talking to me. He tries that with Chantel's mom. He's like, hey. And her mom's like, I don't know who the heck you think you're hey-haying at, but it's not gonna be me. And so River gets up and whips something at Pedro, and then boom, the fireworks start. Pedro gets up and lunges for him, and they just completely scrap it out over the dinner table with River falling over his sister-in-law, like as well as the mom. Like it was such a massive dog pile. Winter was trying to pull them apart. The dad was eating his little chicken wing, trying to like fight off people as well. Like it was a whole mess. And when everyone finally got separated, Pedro goes back and kicks the table, like just for good measure. And then River was like, hey, why'd you do that, man? You didn't need to kick the table. Like, what's going on? And then poor little Chantel starts crying her heart out over what just went down between her two families. Like, it is really sad to see that things have come to this point. But just like Pedro said, Chantel needs to stop telling her family every little thing. She knows they're rooting for the demise of her marriage, and she's only stoking the fires by like continuing to feed them this sort of information. And also, this is also Pedro's fault as well for not having his wife's back properly so that she doesn't feel like she's alone and humiliated and ganged up on in her own home. You guys, that wraps up what went down between Pedro and Chantel in this episode of 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After. As usual, I'm more excited to hear what you have to say about everything. So please make sure to leave all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and we'll chat. You can also like this video, subscribe for more. Feel free to share it with your friends as well, and follow me across social media where I absolutely love chatting with you. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.